Okay.
Here we are again.
Here we are again. I'm so excited to share this movie with you. It is one of my favorites of all time. So, yeah, what is your experience with this movie?
Yeah, so this is the classic Superman movie. I think it was filmed in 78.
78.
Okay, and it's hard for me because when I like, for example, because I didn't know who the hell Lana was in the show, and when they first introduced Lana, the character, whenever he's grown up, like I'm so used to seeing Lana from Smallville or Clark from Smallville. I'm not used to seeing these characters, these older characters. Yeah, I guess the original Superman characters.
Yeah, Smallville. I spent a lot of time in Smallville. We will spend some time in Smallville today, but a different Smallville. It's gonna be crazy. I guess you just want to go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so it starts off as it should with a comic book, and we get the Warner Brothers logo, and then the comic book comes and it opens and it reads and it talks about I guess first the curtains open up. You see those curtains open
that up. Totally reminded me of Super Mario Brothers 3. The start screen, because it looks just like that. I was like, oh dang, that's Super Mario Brothers. Anyway, that was just funny.
No, that's right. And it opens up and it's like old school, like film and everything.
You know what? Yeah, it reminded me of like Spaceballs. I remember Spaceballs looked like that during the introduction, where the words would come in real slow. And I was like, and the movies then, now movies just start. There's not really, all those credits are at the end and not the beginning. Yeah. So I was like, all right, when is this going to kick in? I had to like hit my fast forward 15-second button a few times.
Yeah. to get there. Oh, you fast forwarded through the credits.
Yeah, I didn't watch all. Yeah, I know.
That's okay. But let me say something. Whenever I was a kid and I first saw these, man, they were incredible, because by the time there were many sequels, and by the time that it got to the fourth one, it was like the effects where you knew something was wrong in Metropolis.
Yeah. Are you talking about the credits?
Yeah, like no other Superman movie or anything has ever perfected these credits like quite like this one has. It's great. So I just remember as a kid, I was like, oh yeah, it's the one with the awesome credits. But the rest of the shit really kind of scared me. Because whenever you get to Krypton and all this stuff, I tell you, General Zod and all this stuff, it scared me. So,
it's pretty intimidating because it's like alien courtroom.
Yeah.
This like this circle kind of doing this and holding them in. And because that's kind of where it kicked off, right? Where they were interviewing. Apparently that there were some really bad.
Well, they were on trial. Yeah,
they were. Yeah, because everybody was like guilty.
Yeah, they were being tried for seditious acts against humanity. Yeah,
because Zod wanted to like be the supreme ruler.
Yeah, he tried to overthrow the government.
Kim Jong-un, Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin.
Just a lot of people. But just to backtrack for just a second, did you know that Krypton work, like whenever we start to go in to see the red sun and everything, that's like I guess I should say that's for turpentine, but it's just going to be like that was like, I guess, a pan of gas that they had filmed and slowed down. I don't remember how they did it, but just think about all those effects. Like they had to use models like for Krypton and all that stuff. And they look fantastic,
Yeah, because there was no CGI then. Computers weren't really used for that, and everything. I mean, you can tell it's older, right? It was produced during I guess during a time that these types of techniques were just like, I'm sure that a lot of those techniques they had to create.
Yes, exactly.
They'll be like, how do we make this look like this? And they're like, all right, let's try this. It's trial and error.
And And so this is some of the first stuff that was ever filmed, And so I like how they have just the people, the other council members that we see later on, they're projected on the walls. They're the trial, they're the jury, and they're trying the three, and they find them guilty.
And then the mirror comes in and swoops them away.
Yeah, the mirror comes in and swoops them away.
So are they trapped in a mirror like that? That's their punishment, to be together all like.
They're in the Phantom Zone, is what that's called.
The Phantom Zone. Yeah. But they're stuck like that all together.
Well, it's kind of like it's been depicted a few ways. Sometimes it opens up to another dimension, and that's like just the little window, or that's like the transport to the Phantom Zone.
I see.
But Jor-El says a special thing. He says, "You will bow down before me, Jor-El." Or Zod says that
he was pissed, man.
Yeah, he was slightly perturbed. He's like, "God, this is a minor inconvenience."
He's like, "Damn, they're gonna send me to the Dimension Zone,
the Phantom Zone,
the Phantom Zone." Yeah, that's like life without parole, right there, man. Yeah. That's the sentence you don't want,
It is. So then I guess we cut to the council, and Jor-El is talking about how he says that the planet is going to explode. And if he doesn't get us off here, it's going to be suicide, genocide.
Nobody believes him.
Yeah, nobody believes him. And they all turn against him.
Aren't these dudes really smart? They're way up there. Oh my gosh, the Earth, the people on Earth are not, they're too primitive for the technology they have during this time.
That's what she says.
And nobody believes them that the planet's going to basically implode. It's crazy that they didn't believe him. But
what did you think of the costumes here?
So their faces were darkened, and it was like they were glowing.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard. It was kind of hard to see their face, but and I don't know why was it? Is that just how their costumes are?
That was a unique feature that they an effect created? That they kind of figured out how to do, and they did that with the screen that movies are projected on, like movie theaters, and it has little balls of glass on it.
What? And so, and then they shined a light on it, or
yes,
was it
exactly. What? That's what they did. And there are shots of them walking around with it being just completely gray, like your shirt. It's about that color. Yeah.
Oh, so the shirts were this color, but when light reflected off of it, it looked like a really bright light. Coming off their shirts.
And so they had to fix their cameras to have lights on them. But it's crazy just to get this effect, and it's really awesome.
And is that the only? It looks like it's the only part of the movie that they had that, right? Just that one, because it wasn't okay.
Yeah. And then Laura brings in baby Kal-El, and they say that they've got to evacuate. Oh, yeah. The council, he says that neither him nor his wife will flee KrypTIN, as he says.
Yeah, man, that was it was to prevent a state of panic with everybody else that something like that was going to happen.
They're just like, can you imagine if it's like, oh my gosh, he's fleeing, and so he was talking this stuff, and now he's fleeing.
That dude's fleeing, I'm fleeing, and everybody else is going to flee.
Yeah. So they talk about how Earth is primitive. This is where she says that primitive, and that, he'll need that advantage to survive. That's
and
crazy.
Then they place him in a little, it looks like a star mobile. I'm going to call it the star mobile.
And so this is Marlon Brando. You know who Marlon Brando is, right?
I only know Marlon Brando from the Slipknot song. Where he's like, can't see California with that Marlon Brando's eyes. Can't see. You know what song I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, dude. That's the only. So I knew he was an actor, but I know nothing about Marlon Brando. Other than what I heard in the lyrics was Slipknot. That's about it.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I mean, you can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes.
That's what they say.
That had to be something important. But you know where that came from?
No.
he said that. So Corey, is it Corey Taylor? Yeah, singer
Corey
for Slipknot. Yeah, Corey Feldman said that. They were walking down the street somewhere in California, and this homeless guy was rocking back and forth saying, "You can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes," and then that's why he decided to put it in as a lyric.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Anyway, who is Marlon Brando? Because I don't know.
He's an actor. He's an actor. He was like a famous actor for a long time, but he was really lazy in his later years. So I'll tell you more about how more in trivia time. But anyway, if you'll notice, did you notice that he was giving a really stern look whenever he gave that speech to his son, right? He was just really concentrating.
Yes. Yeah. And he recorded himself.
Yeah.
And embedded himself in the crystal. And that's why I think okay, because, when he puts him in this Starmobile and it takes off, I like the noise it makes. It's just making its way through the galaxy. that was pretty funny. It was like... It reminded me of the Jetsons, the sound their cars make.
Yes, yeah.
Their flying cars. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of references here. You heard him in the Starmobile where he was. You heard his father talking to him the whole time, and I thought, all right, so by the time he gets to Earth, he's not a baby anymore. He's like what, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And so this repetitive recording of, it's almost like that was his education for a little while.
Yeah, it was. That's all he had.
That's how I thought about it.
And it's just like he talks about like the embedded in the crystals before you is the total accumulation of all the scientific literature and facts from dozens of other worlds spanning the 28 known galaxies.
28 known
and
galaxies.
He's like, each of the 6 galaxies that you will pass through have their own individual law of space and time. And then this is where he says, it's forbidden for you to interfere with human history.
Yep. Because he has all the power. Once he figures this out.
But this Jor-El is not like the Jor-El that in Smallville. So go into this with a clean slate. Just go into yeah. So, but did you hear that? Yeah, more in trivia time. So anyway, he crashes to Earth and then he's picked up by the Kents. I love this truck. It's awesome.
Dude, that truck. Well, because when I first saw the truck, I thought, okay, well, maybe this is... Because I couldn't remember because it's been years since I've seen the movie. So this was like set. It had to have been set in the 50s because later you kind of find out that that's kind of the time that it was set in. Well, it makes sense. I mean, being the film was in 78, that's all they had to go off of. Right? It was whatever the 50s. They had learned.
He was in the 50s. Yeah, for sure. I like it though. I mean, I think that's when he should be from, it kind of, but it doesn't add up now, but anyway, you see a naked little boy. They filmed this twice.
Dude, seriously. He was butt naked, man. He was, I expected just to kind of see from what I remember, just his belly and up, but no, man, he's like, they showed it all.
They filmed it twice just with his birthday suit. Yeah. So, anyway, we see him lift the truck and we learn that, Martha Clark Kent, that's where he gets his name. And she's like, we could just say that he's child of my cousins in North Dakota and he's just been orphaned.
And I know, and he's like, Martha, am I hearing what I think you're hearing? What I think you're saying? He's like, let's just keep this baby we found that crashed in a meteor.
Yeah, and he's like, I love that. He's like, now you saw how we found him, right?
Right. Seriously.
Yeah, and we learned that Jonathan has a little heart condition he's got to be careful of. So Very quickly, something happens and the tire jack
blows out. Yeah,
falls over, and little Kal-El picks up the. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that's when they're like, "Oh shit, we need to keep this a secret."
Yeah. What did you think of what we've gone through so far with him being on Krypton and then the whole transition here? It's very, it feels very biblical. It's always felt that way to me, like super, just like there's all these religious undertones.
Dude, there is, because and I want to mention something as we get towards the end of this one, because at about 45 minutes he says something that's like super freaking biblical.
Oh yeah.
So we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I didn't really catch anything. I didn't think of anything biblical up until that point.
Up until that point. Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One thing I did think though is, how did he eat?
Yeah, he just didn't need to eat. I know that's a normal question. That's a normal question.
Did he use your restroom or anything, or like it was 3 fucking years, man. That's a long time. He held it.
I don't know. I don't know. It's suspension of disbelief. I know that's asking a lot, but it's like, hey, this is a movie where he can fly. So
that's it, dude. Yeah,
a lot of this is going to be suspension of disbelief.
Some of this is not going to make quite so much sense.
Yeah.
Logically, the way we would think.
So we cut to the high school and he's hanging out, and Clark is not the star of the team. He's the water boy. What did you think of that?
Man, and you know what? Right after I watched this segment, guess what I watched?
The water boy.
The water boy with Adam Sandler. I don't know what, because I was thinking about like, oh, he's a freaking water boy. He's helping folding towels, picking shit up. And then I just wanted to watch Waterboy after that because I just wanted to. So I did.
So,
obviously not the star, right? Considering that he could like pretty much murder everybody in football, right? And then you meet Lana. Mm-hmm. She's like, "Hey, come and hang out with us." And then the dude, Brad, or whatever his name is. Is it Brad? Is it Brad? Yeah. I know he was pretty jacked up though. I mean, and you kind of get that sense through the next few minutes of that, after that segment where he like kicks over all the shit.
It was him,
man. No joke. Man. Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Like really, but there's always going to be those people, man. Always.
Yeah. So all this is real. This is supposed to be Kansas. It's filmed in Canada. Always Smallville is always in Canada for some reason.
In Canada?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
This one too?
No, yeah. It's all most of the Smallville, any place that Smallville has been filmed in Canada. Canada.
Figured I'd be here in the US somewhere on remote, like Kansas, because that's where this is supposed to be.
Nah.
That's the setting, right? Is it Kansas?
Yeah, for sure.
It's Kansas. But it's Canada.
So then he kicks the football. And that was real. So how do you think that they did that?
If I had to guess, somehow they had a rocket launcher looking thing that launched the ball out as he kicked it. For real?
It's under the ground. Like they built this thing, and like so he had to like, there's 3, 2, 1, and they kicked.
Like pretend. He like drop it in the hole
like
as
if he missed. No, it was sitting, I'm sure, in there, and someone launched it from off. We had to like kick, and as it shot out, and you can see the gas or the smoke underneath the.
You can in the movie.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look at that because I did not. Because I think the audience is so focused on the ball going. Mm-hmm. You're looking at the ball. You're not looking at the ground. You're following the ball as it's going.
But it's amazing. Like all that was. So that really happened.
Yeah, right. It's like, and it was so perfect too. The kick. You know, it was like somebody threw a perfect spiral, but that long distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, dude. I did not even think about how they did that. I just thought, okay, they used some effect or something happened there.
So then he's running along by the train. What do you think about that?
That was funny. You know what? It almost looks like he's suspended and he like running because that's what it looked like. As he was running.
Right. That's exactly right. He was suspended from a crane, like that was out of frame, and he was just about 6 inches off the ground, and just yeah,
flying.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That was pretty cool though. That was a cool scene. And then nobody saw that except for this little kid, right?
But in an extended scene, we'll probably, I don't know whenever we'll do this again, unless we do a watch along. That would be kind of cool to do a watch along where we watch a movie together.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. But you find out it's like, golly, I saw a boy out there run as fast as the train, run as fast as the train, faster even. And the dad is like, Lois, read your book. And the mom is like, Lois, you always have a writer's gift for invention, something like that. And the mom is actually Lois Lane from the 50s Superman. And the dad is Kirk Allen, who originally played the first live action Superman, I think.
What?
Yeah.
So that's who the actor and the actress was in that scene to that little boy. They were there. It was the mom and dad to that little boy.
Yeah. Yeah. They just had brief cameos. They had an extended scene, but it was just cut down for time and editing. A lot of things are filmed that get cut down, you'll see.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, with like edits and stuff.
So they're driving along.
You know what I know what that's in reference to.
I know you
driving along.
I know you do. And so we see them coming around one side, and then we see the dirt coming up the other side. Did you catch that?
I did, and because I mean, obviously, he's just waiting by the car, and then they still still talking shit. That dude, he's like, yeah, he must be a freak or whatever he said. I can't remember what. I'm like, I told you he was a freak. I'm like, dude, I'd be like, dude, that's amazing. How'd you get here so fast? I'm like, you know what? I want to know more about this guy. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, he's a freak.
Oh, that's what Lana wants to know more about him.
She's like,
But Big Daddy Kent is there, and he's like, son, you've been showing off, haven't you? And he gives him,
Dad.
He gives him this talk. It's just incredible. It
is, man, because the only reason that he has survived these 18 years.
It's a car starting outside.
Oh, you can hear. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, go ahead.
The only reason that he has survived these 18 years is because of the responsibility of the parents. So Jonathan and his mom, and how they're very wise. And he says something like that is like, as you get older, some of this stuff doesn't matter anymore or whatever. Yeah. And it's true.
Yeah.
And then I did not expect him to die that early. I completely forgot, dude.
Yeah, he does. He does an amazing job. This actor, Glenn Ford, he does an amazing job, and he falls. And I've always loved that they cut wide. Like where normally when someone dies, you get a close up on them, but they cut wide and like the stillness of the farm. I've always loved that was such an amazing shot. And then you see Martha come out and then Clark come out. It's such a great shot, and all that's just real. I just think that's
wonderful. And I was thinking
cinematography.
I was like, man, if that were me and I had that power, I would have been like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. So I'd have been like, Mom, I'll come back for you. And then take off like super hyperactive speed, get him to the hospital, and then be like, I'll come back for you, Mom. And then come back and pick up Mom and take her too.
Yeah, but he was already gone.
Yeah, that was sad though.
Yeah,
that was sad.
But that's the thing. He was, he says that later on, and that becomes a staple of like his character. So we cut to we fade to the
funeral.
To the funeral, and it's beautiful.
It is, dude. The landscape, it is, man, because they're on this like high hill, kind of overseeing the countryside. It is very peaceful out there for sure.
And there you can see, especially now since we have like Blu-ray and everything, like you can see like little cars in the background and everything. It's amazing. I think it's just so cool. So
it's all the details.
That church was a miniature. What? Like that little church that they had.
It wasn't real?
No.
What the hell?
It was like, yeah, I don't know how big it was, but I've always heard that it was a miniature.
A doghouse, maybe size of a doghouse. No, probably bigger than that.
And he says, all those things I can do, all those powers, and I couldn't even save him.
Yeah. That's one thing you can't do, man, is bring people back to life.
You just can't. So they walk out of the funeral. It's just a wonderful, wonderful scene with Clark and Martha. He hears a something calls to him in the middle of the night, and he goes out. And tell me what you think happened here.
I don't know. He wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning or something, like super early in the morning.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it's almost like something's calling to him, and then all of a sudden he ends up in the that part was weird because I was like, because it didn't really, nothing hinted toward, other than him walking in the barn and opening up this bin.
Yeah,
nothing really hinted to him like being pulled. I just thought initially he just woke up. He just woke up and
he gets up in the middle of the night, and you can see him kind of looking out the window towards the barn.
You know what? Something else was he turned the radio off. It was making some weird noises or something. Anyway, yeah. So and I remember when he was being put in the Starmobile that his dad put a crystal in there.
Yeah.
So I figured I figured it was that one.
Yeah.
That they buried to keep safe.
Heck yeah. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. As a kid, I'm sure like every kid, they thought this was kryptonite. It's like, why did the dad put kryptonite in the, you thought that I remember.
I initially thought that too, but then I was like, no, he wouldn't put anything in there to harm his kid. I wouldn't think.
No.
Because it was green. That was, I did. There was a little thought that I had that I was like, okay, maybe that's kryptonite, but no, there's no way.
Yeah, it's a special one. You get the idea that it's a special one because everything else is white on Krypton. So, yeah, a wonderful shot as we see a box of Cheerios, of course. And we also see panning down, and we see Martha Kent walking out to Clark. And this is such a great scene, where
he's out in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, she walked a long way to get there.
And that's real too. And if you look, you couldn't see this stuff because whenever I grew up, I still have the VHS. Next time I pull it out, it's right over here. Next time I pull it out, cool. It was recorded on HBO or something like that. Whenever I was a kid, everything was so out of focus and grainy, but you can really see that they really took the time to really there's one path that everybody walked on, to get out there. So they wouldn't mess up the wheat field.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I did think like, dang man, that poor woman walked that was like half a mile from the freaking farm.
Yeah,
because she sees her kid way out there, just freaking standing out in the middle of nowhere, and she's like, "I go see what he's up to."
And he's like, "I have to leave." She says, "We knew this time would come. We both knew it from the day we found you."
It's like, where will you go?
Yeah, north. Yeah, he's heading up north. So then we begin the trek all the way to the fortress of.
You ruined it.
Just going north. Yeah, and so it's really cool. So all of this, then we begin to work. We shift to this is kind of like a sound stage. Like they had this whole big, huge sound stage. I don't know how big it was, but they filled it with water and made it to where like the bottom half of everything was like
floated. I mean, these little things were floating on it because there was one where he's trekking through. I mean, it looks like the freaking
and
Arctic.
All that's real. All that's real. It's just on the sound stage, and how they got the top of the lights, like they did what's called a matte painting. Matte, MATTE, and it's just like basically they put a piece of glass over the film and someone paints on top of it to finish the scene before they had CGI or anything. Think about that.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah. And so you can see some of the matte paintings like the Fortress of Solitude whenever it creates and everything, or whenever it's done and they have that big wide shot with it in the background,
Yeah, because I even thought that was funny how it came out too, because he had this crystal and he's like, oh, shit, I'm just gonna throw it. Yeah. Like, how did he know to do that?
He just knew.
What if nothing happened and he lost it?
He would just go get it.
That's true.
But did you see what was in his backpack?
Yeah, because he opened it up, and I did see that. I figured it was the blanket or something that he had been wrapped up with.
The blanket,
alongside with anything else, any food, any water,
stuff like that. He may not need it. He may not need it. So then, anyway, he travels into the fortress, and this is such an incredible set. You can actually see this set briefly during the destruction of Krypton. Like they repurposed.
They used the same one.
Yeah, for parts of it. For parts of it, they did, and then they just kind of changed it to be, I guess, to fit. They only had so much space.
Yeah, because in trying to make it look like home on some level, like that's what his home looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just massive. And a lot of that is like, we'll get into the second one whenever we get there. But we're just focusing on this part.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it does. It looks incredible. I mean, and to think that was all like hand built, like somebody had to think, all right, like here's the material, here's how I want it to look. And it is kind of crazy for that time, to have something that them.
Yeah, styrofoam and
paint,
and platforms, and plastic. Like some of the things that you can see going up and down are just long sheets of plastic that they have, because they're like, the camera's only going to be this way, so we can have a long ass piece of plastic that
make it look
like it's
like it's a crystal.
Yeah, super deep, but you can see it if you look for it. But it's just incredible. The filmmakers and everybody else did such an amazing job.
They did.
So the crystal's calling to him again, but it's more crystals, and he picks one up and he just knows what to do, I guess. And he puts it in the tube, right? That holds the crystal. I mean, that's what they're there for. Yeah. And I thought about that too. I'm like, how do you know which one to pick? I kind of figured maybe it was going to be like a trial and error where this looks like maybe it would go in there like a baby, the circle goes in the circle, the square goes in the square. You have to pick it up and put it in there. And this happened. He just knew.
And then his dad comes over the ears.
Yeah.
This is where earlier I'd said, I want to say something about that. And after his speech, there towards the end, this is where he's like, and then I gave him my son. Like in a biblical sense, that he's the father, sent his son down to earth because all these people are fucking up, can't get shit right. Zod's gonna come wreck shop.
Nothing about Zod yet.
Nothing about Zod yet.
No, we don't even. That was just a normal day on Krypton. Okay, we don't even talk about that. That's just. One for the books. That's just like, I just got home. Oh, the planet's about to explode. Oh shit. Okay, gotta get you in the space shuttle.
In the Starmobile.
In the Starmobile. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Yeah. So let's see what happens.
Well, he just gives him this big old long speech, and he basically is like, "Hey, ask me questions." Like he can interact with them.
I just love like what he all says here. And he's like, you're the only survivor of the planet Krypton or KrypTIN.
KrypTIN. Yeah. He does kind of shorten that up, right? Because I would want to say Krypton, like emphasize Krypton. No, KrypTIN.
KrypTIN. He's the only one who does it in this whole series. I like how he says that he's been dead for many thousands of his years.
Seriously. It's like only 18 years of your years, but it's been thousands of years. That's true. He does say that.
He just asks who he is.
Yeah, that's it. That's all he wants to know. Well, hell, man. I mean, after all that entire time on Earth and not really obviously none of these people are my family. I'm very different. You know, I would want to be like, tell me about my history, you know, because I want to know. And he does. It's a very simple question. Like, anything you want to know, anything. Who am I? That's what he says.
This shot where they go through. So I'd like to rewind just a minute back to Krypton, to Jor-El's speech where he's like, "You will see my life through your eyes as your life will be seen through mine. The son becomes the father and the father becomes the son." He says that to him. Okay, now we're back here. Yeah, fast forward. So we go with Jor-El traveling through time and space, and you hear about all this stuff. I don't know if you're able to catch a lot of this stuff on the first viewing, but it's some of the stuff that he says is pretty incredible. He's like, "In this next year, we shall examine the various concepts of immortality and their basis in actual fact."
You mean like when he's in the Starmobile?
When it's doing the space?
No, he does. He talks like some like great philosopher. You know, he chooses his words very carefully, and no, it is. It's very very textbook speech, right? Like it doesn't sound like you and me talking. Like he doesn't say, like, you know, you're going to be passing through the galaxies like really fast. Saying,
like he's talking about this year we shall examine the human heart. It's more fragile than yours. You know, he's just talking about like he's just talking about how basically, hey, you're probably going to live forever, and you know, live as one of them, Kal-El. Discover where your strengths and your power are needed, but always hold in your heart the pride of your special heritage. And he's like, they can be a great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason, above all, I've sent them you. Their capacity, or for this reason, above all, their capacity for good, I've sent them you, my only son. And then it flips, and we see Superman first through Jor-El's eyes.
Yeah, because he's standing up there, right, in the suit. Yeah, because it fast forward, like he got bigger, or it's not the same person anymore, right?
He says, by the time we return to the confines of your galaxy, 12 years will have passed. 12 years.
That's right. So 12 years went by after he's 18. So what, 28? Yeah. So he's like 30.
30.
Yeah. And now it's Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, Christopher Reeve.
Reeves. Oh, it's Reeve.
Yes. Please, you're gonna get us burned in the comments.
Is this not multiple? It's multiple people though, right? Just in case they needed to film them more than once, they had multiple Reeves.
Whatever. But anyway, so we see Superman through Jor-El's eyes first, and that's like a callback to "You'll see my life through your eyes as your life will be seen through mine."
And then he takes off, right?
He takes
and this
off.
This is the last thing.
What did you think of the takeoff?
I timed it. Well, I mean, it looked like he was legit flying, man. Like I didn't. Of course, I knew. You know, there's probably whatever.
You didn't think he was really?
Effects.
I thought he was really flying.
I thought he was really flying.
As a kid, I thought he was really flying, man.
Oh, of course, I would imagine, but no, I mean, it was a cool scene though, because it looks like he's flying towards the camera and then he takes off. Right, that was pretty cool the way they did that. And that was it. I really stopped it at 48 minutes, man, because
that's when it was good. Good for you. You didn't
even
catch any of the traffic in Metropolis. There's a little bit of traffic in Metropolis.
Oh yeah. So right after that,
but don't worry about that. We're not gonna talk about that. You stopped. We're gonna
spend a lot of time talking about that section.
But that flying, like he is, man, legitimately, and there's been talk about this, like just the way that he turns his body sideways and flies like
the whole time he's like this, right? He's like, I don't know.
He could be stiff like that. The last episode that we're going to do for this is going to be talking about how they filmed it and how a lot of the trial and error that they did to get through all of this shit.
I can only imagine.
It's going to be good, man. That's going to be our final one that we do here. So what did you think so far? 45, 48 minutes in. What do you think of Superman the movie?
Yeah.
We've gotten
from what I remember, I mean, it was a good show. And this is the one I remember. This is the one I remember out of all of them. Yeah. The most anyway. And not so much on the details and how I'm like, fast forward, 50, I swear to God, it's probably been like 10 or 15 years since I've seen this movie, dude. No joke. Probably even longer than that. And now I'm thinking about it in a sense of, yes, I'm familiar with it, but now we're talking about the details and maybe some of the movie making process. So that part of it's cool.
Yeah. You don't remember, did we watch this I'm sure that we watched this together in
at some point.
Yeah.
At some point, dude. Dad, I remember Smallville too. I remember episodes of Smallville. But and then of course in the app, the HBO Max app, it's like movies like this. I swear I counted like 30 movies, man. Of course, the second one, the third one, then there's Superman Returns.
Yeah.
Is that the fourth one technically?
That's well, we'll get into that.
Because them shits,
it wants to be the third one, but technically it's a different one in a series, but it says it picks up.
Yeah.
After
them shits, time. I do not remember at all.
Well, I don't
remember any of those.
We will get to them. It's going to be a lot of fun to do it. So, shit. What time is it? Do you know what time it is?
It's 4:09.
Trivia time. Don't you know it's trivia time?
Dude, every time you ask me that shit, dude.
Don't you know it's trivia time?
Every time you ask me that, I don't even know. Like, I don't even think to say that. I think one time you've asked me that. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's trivia time. And then you're like, what time is it? And I fuck around. I don't even think about it.
So, like I said earlier, Warner Brothers had the rights to Superman this whole time. They could have made a movie at any point. These guys, Alexander Salkind, convinced his dad, Ilya Salkind, to front the money anyway to get this movie made. So they got it from Warner Brothers. There's so much that I could go into this, but everyone just thought, oh yeah, you making your little superhero movie, and
little
it's just
did they know.
It wasn't like really the only thing before this. You have to think the only thing before this was like Batman, the 66 that's super campy. And so it was going to be like that until Richard Donner came on. But that's a story for another day. But it really didn't gain legitimacy until Marlon Brando signed on to become Jor-El.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of where that starts too. They think about the people that they want to bring on to the movie. They read the script. And if they think it's going to be cool, then they sign on.
Marlon Brando, let's see. He's on screen like maybe, I don't know, like 12 minutes. All right.
Total time. Yeah, it wasn't very long. Other than his projections.
In 1978, how much do you think he was paid for like 12 minutes worth of screen time?
In 1978?
2 weeks worth of work.
I don't even know, dude. I wouldn't even be able to guess.
$3.7 million. Even now, it's outrageous.
So about $4 million.
Yeah, even now,
$4 million
outrageous.
In 1978. That's equivalent now to. No, not $4, man. Does this not pick up?
It doesn't matter.
I had to find a in today's money, that's $18 million. So that's the equivalent. I mean, it's like they paid him $18 million just for 2 weeks. And golly, that's insane. I'm gonna have to research Marlon Brando, man, because like apparently he's a big actor, right? But I don't know any of the films he was in or what made him famous or why he was so famous.
The little baby who played the baby Kal-El.
Yeah.
He also went on to be in Superman 3 as another little kid. And he gets to interact with Superman.
He's a little baby.
And we talked about like how on Krypton their glowing costumes were done with like doing like film screen material.
Yeah,
and they had to like use cotton gloves, man, to like they couldn't touch it. Like, but,
oh wow.
Yeah, so like it was crazy. So, and it was hot.
Oh, I can imagine, man. I mean, it's being pretty much like being wrapped in foil.
All those
not gonna let any of that heat up.
Lit up. And so back then it was so hot, you know. Did you catch that Christopher Reeve dubbed all of the other Clark Kent's line? That's not Christopher Reeve, you know that. Yeah, but did you catch that Christopher Reeve redubbed all of his lines?
In the part that we watched?
Yeah, in Smallville, in the Smallville scenes, that's not the actor who you see on screen. That's Christopher Reeve later on recording his lines.
I don't even know what which part you're talking about. Like, because I don't see Christopher Reeve.
Exactly. So later on, they filmed this actor playing a young Clark Kent and recorded all of his voice and everything.
After.
And then Christopher Reeve went in and they re-recorded his lines. And so also to tie it back to something else with lightsabers, Christopher Reeve had to gain like a lot of muscle mass to play Superman, you know?
Oh, I can imagine that routine too. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I mean, all actors and actresses have to do that, you know, for certain roles. Eat well, build muscle. Well, I mean, whatever the character calls for. Yeah. You know, and in some cases, gaining weight to look unhealthy.
Yeah.
You know, sure. At least he was gaining weight to look healthy, you know, because he had to be pretty built.
He was. I mean, and also he put on so much weight, like muscle, like some of the scenes that they filmed that were like kind of towards the end, because they only had like Gene Hackman and Marlon Brando and all this stuff for a certain amount of time. So there's some parts in the film that you can see that he looks different and like,
I'll have to really look at
there yet, but yeah.
But I'll have to look for those parts because I didn't even consider that.
But tying it back to the lightsaber thing, do you know who trained him? It was a famous bodybuilder, and he portrayed someone in the Star Wars series.
Hulk Hogan.
It was Hulk Hogan. That's right. It was Hulk Hogan, brother. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you about that time that I trained Christopher Reeve, brother. I trained him to be the best Superman ever, brother.
I was a total guess, man. I was just thinking about the time and maybe who might be a wrestler.
It was David.
Seriously? Prowse. I thought I was right.
No, you're not right.
I was looking Hulk Hogan, dude. Yes. And I was like, Hulk Hogan? And then you were like, yeah, he trained him. I was like, hell yeah, I got that right.
Tying back to the lightsabers thing, it doesn't have anything to do with Hulk Hogan. The actor is David Prowse, who the actor who portrayed the physical version of Darth Vader.
Oh, he trained him?
He trained him to put on a bunch of muscle.
That's crazy. So the real Darth Vader was this really jacked up dude. And he looks like old and brittle in the show.
We're almost 48 minutes in, and the word Superman has not been said yet.
Superman. I just said it.
Oh, my God. This was a kind of a Terrence Stamp. I'm a big fan of Terrence Stamp. He plays General Zod. He had been in kind of a resurgence, or not a resurgence. He had been in kind of kind of not taking a lot of work because he had been like in an ashram in India and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and he's lived an amazing life. I have an autograph by him on one of his books. Yeah, I'll show it to you.
No later. Joke. That's cool.
Anyway, this was kind of he got a call, and he always talks about, I got a call that said, come to America, work with Marlon Brando. And so, so he did.
And he did. Now he's a billionaire.
No, he just, no.
I'm pretty sure he went back to India and became a Shaolin monk, grandmaster, ninja assassin.
You've seen him in other things. I know for sure. You've seen him in like...
probably. I'd have to...
What's that hotel movie with Eddie Murphy? I don't know. You've seen it.
I have no idea, dude. Hotel movie?
Yeah, it does. It's like a haunted hotel. Doesn't matter.
Haunted mansion? I don't know.
No shit. You know what we didn't do this whole time?
Did you not hit record?
I didn't hit record, dude.
Shut your fucking mouth, dude.
You were listening to K.
Oh my God, dude, I'll hit you in your damn head, dude. I thought you didn't hit record, but then I was like, wait, it says recording up there.
No. My name is Casey Jones.
And my name is Leopoldo Soler. That's my name. That's really right.
And I guess if you made it this far, you know what you're listening to. You know what you got yourself into. So, all right, man. Well, we'll get off here. Well, thanks for joining me today. We will pick up at the next 45 minutes of Superman the movie next time on K. So yeah, I got to do it twice because
Light 7.
I got to do it twice because we missed it the first time.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that, but you guys know if you made it this far, you know what you got yourself into, and we appreciate you listening. I really can't thank you enough. We really can't thank you enough. I mean, it really means a lot. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next episode. Please leave a comment. We will say hello back. All right. All right, LJ. Thanks for joining me again, man. Always a blast.
All right, homie G. As always, thank you.
Take care.